You are listening to the Eskimo Empire Podcast, a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Empire. It's the Eskimo Empire Podcast.
This is Trevor Harris.
Hey, how you doing? This is number 58, Travis Bond.
This is Christoph Malomba Chimanga.
Hey there, this is your co-host, Kenny Stafford.
Hey, this is Ryan King.
Calvin McCarty.
And you are listening to...
You're listening to the Eskimos Empire.
I'm listening to the Eskimo Empire Podcast.
The Eskimo Empire Podcast. Hope you guys enjoy listening.
Welcome back to the Turf District for the Eskimo Empire Podcast, and we are brought to you by the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. I'm Andrew, and I'm joined this week by the one and only Commissioner Kayla.
Hello.
How the hell are you?
Oh, dandy.
Wonderful.
Yes.
You had an exciting weekend.
I did.
Yes.
Bananas.
I know. I was so excited that I got to be there for your surprise.
Oh, you got the first hug.
I really did. I was pretty
really
surprised.
Did, yeah.
I was surprised.
Because I see all these yahoos all the time. Not that I don't see you every week, but it was just like I have my church family and friends, and then I have my friends and family, and then I have Andrew.
Yeah.
I was like,
it was really funny though, because it was that total look of like, what are you doing in my mom's house?
I know, that's exactly what went through my head. Why are you here?
What are you doing here
At my mom and dad's house. I'm so confused.
Your mom is very sneaky.
She is. And
yes.
she's not a good liar, but she sure lied to me. Well, she exaggerated the truth.
She half-truthed it, and that was fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was great.
She hit it well.
It was a very fun surprise party for you.
Well, I'm glad.
And we had great, amazing Janelle cupcakes.
Yes.
With, fondant grad caps, which is awesome.
Yeah, those are cool. And those pastries.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And lots of fun people. I thought it was a great time.
Yeah, I just feel bad for you guys waiting on me. What else is new, though? But... I mean,
we're used to it.
I was like, Mom, why did you... Anyway, thanks, Mom. Love you.
Yeah, it was lovely.
It was wonderful.
Excellent. Now, we have no superfan this week, as he's kind of mid-move, but we do have a new featured fan.
Oh, we sure do.
Yay. So welcome to the Turf District, Cam.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Pretty good. Good. Glad to be here.
I'm glad that you could come down and join us. Now, for people who are listening, who are fans of the show, they know your brother, Uncle BD.
Correct.
So we'll just get that out of the way. So when you start making fun of him later, then they know why, and it makes more sense.
Yeah, so easy to do too, right?
Yeah, and if you are looking at him like we are right now, you'd be like, oh yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's definitely
a resemblance. Just a teeny tiny bit.
But all the good stuff.
All the good,
right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Only the good stuff.
Only the good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, tell us a little bit about your fandom. When did you start watching football, and when did you kind of realize you're a fan?
Yeah, ever since I was, I can't remember when, because it's always been part of the life, right? Growing up, as far as I can remember, we've always had season tickets as a family, and my brothers and dad always took me to games, and I was born into the culture for sure.
Awesome.
And then growing up, and my big thing was, unfortunately, I wanted to follow my brother's footsteps and play football, and then I really got into it, right? And then understood the game totally different after playing it and watching it. And
I feel like that's more of a fortunately.
Well, fortunately, yeah, absolutely.
You got a good sport.
Yeah. No, it was good, and like I said, just growing up and just being that fan and being that kid that looked up to these guys and wanted to be like them, and trying to do it out in the backfield with my brothers, even though I was a lot younger. I won't say how many years, but trying to take on the big guy and do silly things, right? And trying to be that. And I wasn't a NFL fan, but it was the Eskimos through and through, and it was good. Growing up was fun. Yeah.
That's awesome.
What
that's
a
very
good way
cool.
to grow up, man. I feel like I missed a lot in my childhood.
That's right. Yeah, you came later.
Way later.
Yeah.
So, who's your favorite player of all time and currently?
Of all time and currently.
You can have more than one. We'll allow it.
Yeah,
Yes.
all time, growing up and, like doing that quarterback thing through school, and I always looked up to Warren Moon growing up and watching,
hard not to.
barely I was little then, and still remember, and then following him with the Houston Oilers, and being heartbroken when they lost a big lead in the playoffs and stuff like that. Like, I always definitely followed his career and looked into it a little bit more after when I could with Eskimos and stuff, but a little bit more current. I'm a huge Jason Tucker fan. Like,
Nice.
he's my guy. Like, I was fortunate enough, doing the work that I do, I was able to meet a lot of the guys, and he was one of my, one of my biggest, I cheered him on, and still remember the time when he got hurt. And fortunately, I wasn't at that game. I was in the middle of the lake fishing, but was still listening to the game.
Of course,
and then right at all that, and to this day, when I see him, we shake hands, give big hugs, and know him kind of, glad to call him, a friend and stuff like that now too, right? So
awesome.
Definitely have that utmost respect for that guy. And every time, just looking at your wall and seeing the pictures, it's like, oh.
Yeah. He's just so kind too.
So kind.
I was shocked when
unbelievable, right?
Like, just a heart of gold. You could feel it radiating off him.
Exactly. Like, I remember a time, little story when he came into the store, and there's these kids, and like, oh my God, like, they recognize him, right? Obviously CFL fans and recognize him. He noticed it, right? So, being who he is and so kind-hearted, he sneaks around and gets in behind them, and these two kids are sitting on a couch, and all of a sudden Jay just leaps through the air and jumps right between them, right? And these kids are just, oh my God. And even their parents, right? They're appreciative and, made the kids' day, and I'm sure they're still fans to this day, and big super fans of his, right? Just because of it. And it was really neat. Like, everyone in the store noticed, and like, oh my God, like, oh, that's who it is now, right? And then they recognize him, and it's good. Like, he's just, really appreciative for everything he's done, you know, even for me. And,
wow.
And doing that, right? Like, kind-hearted. Unbelievable. Exactly.
Excellent pick. You must be very happy that he's back as a coach now.
Very happy.
Yeah.
Kind of happy, and I don't see him up in the box anymore. He's always on the field. Like, when he was with other teams, at least I'd see him pregame and stuff like that.
Okay.
And say hi and catch up on family stuff, right? But very happy he's back, and
and obviously doing a good job. I mean, we'll talk about that in just a second. Do you have any, like, a piece of Esks memorabilia that's kind of your favorite or part of your collection? Or?
The Ricky Ray, signed picture. It's just something because, really appreciated, what he did and his style of game, and his patience and how calm he always looked when he played, right? It was one thing, looking back to, a lot of different people playing, like, that's a special talent, like, even in any sport.
Yeah.
To
Absolutely.
be that calm and comfortable doing what you do, right?
Yeah.
And humble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just something I appreciate. It's hanging in the office wall at the house, and when you go in there every time, I always look at it and just pause, because it's something that's, I with my kids all being in competitive sports, it's something, I could only wish my kids could have that kind of calmness and appreciation for the game that he does, right?
Awesome.
So,
awesome.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm just getting all choked up over here. Oh. Do you have a favorite S memory?
There's quite a few. Again, going with kind of maybe bad. I don't know. Gambling when I was very, very young. It was one of those Grey Cup pools, right? And she was a Grey Cup Western Finals. I don't know. This is really bad of me. My memory is really bad. But Jay Carr kicking the game-winning field goal. I still remember that. I'm trying to remember exactly year and stuff like that.
Correct. That would have been 87.
Yeah,
is it
87.
not?
Like 87. I was young, right? So
that would be the year that Corey kicks the field goal at the end after
I remember.
Gizmo did the 115-yard missed field goal return, and
just remembering that because, hey, if he hit that field goal, I won the pool.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, and even though a very exciting game, it was unbelievable. Like, for some reason, it's something that just stuck out, right? Like, it was just something that was extra caveat from your team winning to Oh, yeah, I'm sipping all the candy I want. And take all my buddies and buy some Slurpees at the corner store, right? Like, that's what it was.
That's a good way to have a memory.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, Slurpees all around for sure.
I'll be your friend.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, well, we'll get to our Esks news, but just before we do that, I just want to say this week we are brought to you by ATB Prosper. Invest your money and not your time. So you have dreams, of course, and you need investments that'll help to get you there. With ATB Prosper, you can build a customized investment plan that will help you save and grow your money. Now, maybe you don't know that much about investing. It's no problem. You're very excited, Kayla. ATB can kind of connect you to a advisor to explain all of the details. Then you can invest online just in minutes, probably faster than it takes you to go through a coffee shop line. Right, Kayla?
Especially today.
That's right. Absolutely. And then you get to just carry on living while Prosper and a few smart investment guys grow your money. So check it all out at atbprosper.com. Now, Esks news. We have some interesting ones this week. Last week, the Esks did release Jamichael Dean, who had just got to the 46 roster the week before. And they also removed BJ Clay off of the suspended list to basically released him as well. So a couple changes there. Now, we get the depth chart on Wednesday and a few change-ups that we weren't quite prepared for. Gable went to the one game, and of course, which means Shaq Cooper started, and we're going to talk a lot more about him in a moment. Yeah. And Devaris Daniels to the one game as well, and Forrest Hightower to the 6-game list. So that was kind of a bit of a blow for us.
Yeah.
Now, they did also move Briscoe to the PR, and we only ran with 2 quarterbacks last week, which Moss says was more of a salary cap thing more than anything. So interesting move to have a guy move on to the PR for that. So I'm not really sure exactly what the finer details of that is, but
short yardage maybe?
we seem to got through okay.
Yeah.
It was okay. Yeah. And then of course it worked out of course today that they had more moves as they signed national defensive back Bryce Bartlett back. Now, he was with the team at the beginning of training camp, and then he had decided to retire. Now, I guess, has come back and signed on the PR. And international linebacker DJ Calhoun back, who I thought in camp impressed me with some hitting ability. So not a bad guy to have on the PR on the backup. My thing as I look over that, though, is that you got to think maybe Hightower's injury is a little more serious than we might think. Just because they're trying to find those DBs and guys that can switch from playing, linebacker into that DB role like Nick Taylor. Yeah. So, lots of interesting things there, but let's get to our game because holy boats.
I have a question, about Daniels then. So
sure.
Was the last game not considered his first game? So is he just moving to the one game and then on the one game again?
If he goes back this week, he would be on the one game again.
Okay. Because it's only the one in the 6?
Right.
Okay.
But he was practicing today, so there's a chance that he could be playing.
This weekend?
Yes.
Even if they put him on the one game?
Because it's that one game that he already missed.
Oh,
the one against Toronto was the one
I
game.
thought you meant like they put him on a one game again for this upcoming game.
No, not for the upcoming. No, just last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No, that makes more sense. I was like, but he
thank goodness
today.
Yeah, he did practice today. No, it was.
You know who else practiced today?
Week. Who else?
Don Unumba.
I know. Yeah, he did. The president was back on the field.
Well, my MOPs are just like a disaster this year, so Holy Mazzoli's gone, and Unumba's not going to get it, so I'm out. But I'm very excited.
It's very fun for us to talk about, though. That's all that matters.
Sorry. Anyway, let's transition to the game.
We'll see. Those two, Anthony Orange, Don Unumba, still have one more game on the 6 games. So they're practicing this week, but we likely won't see them till next
but it's a good
week,
sign that they're actually back on the field. So
absolutely.
Don't
Yeah, don't get it. Thank you. Mm-hmm. All right, so Edmonton wins 26-0 over the Argos. Now, that's the first shutout for the Eskimos since 2014, right, Stats guy?
Right.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, the funny thing is that game was against Saskatchewan, and do you know who the coach was?
Chamberlain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Chamberlain is having a hard time against these Eskimos of ours.
I feel bad for him.
Best part, I think, of this game, before we talk all the good in the game, 30,000 fans.
Yeah, over.
Unbelievable.
Plus.
On a Thursday night.
Late
Against Toronto.
Questionable weather.
A little bit with the wind in the afternoon. Still, I mean, the general admission tickets, huge success. And congrats to the Eskimos, and please keep doing it. That was outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the CFL had a little shout out for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great,
on
they
Twitter.
did, yeah.
It was a great move.
It was good.
Great move.
really
So
good.
Yeah.
I was very excited about that. All right, now let's talk about the good parts of the game. So, Cam, what kind of stood out for you in this game as good? You have lots to choose from.
Man, jeez. Wow, hey, it's time possession's huge, and I can't do that without running the ball too, right? So,
Absolutely.
It's, big game for that, right? A lot of first downs, and that's the only way. That's the major part of getting it done. So, don't know exact yardage and whatnot, but it was good. Like it's,
Well, Shaq Cooper had 22 carries for 128 yards and a TD.
Yeah.
like
That's just running.
Yeah.
And then he had another 40.
Five catches for 48 yards.
yards,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
huge.
It's, monster game, right?
Shout out for sure.
So, CJ, I hope you're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we
Love
did,
ya.
we did all right. Okay.
Thank God. Like, they were great game. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
that played a huge part.
Yeah, monster
End of the
game.
day.
You talked about time of possession. We had the ball for almost 40 minutes in this game, which is ridiculous when you think about it. Almost double the time of possession.
Yeah.
It's amazing it was only 26-0.
That's what
Exactly.
I was going to say.
Well,
that's what's kind of frustrating.
That is frustrating. That's kind of almost
Oh, that'll be the bad part. We'll talk about the bad part in
sorry.
a second. Yeah, let's keep on the good for a
Yes,
moment because
yes.
this is a big win. We want to be positive.
Yeah.
Kayla, what was your good this game?
I would probably have to say the D as a whole.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
you can't. I know it's kind of the obvious choice, but this defense looks amazing, and it's true. Like it looks like they're playing for each other. And almost who said it? What quarterback was it that said like the D line? It looks like they're actually having a competition amongst themselves.
Vernon Adams.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's right.
I'm not saying the nickname because it's horrible.
What?
The Milt Stiegel name that he keeps calling.
What did he call him?
I'll tell you later.
Oh.
Because I'm not saying it on.
Oh, is it that?
Yes. So wrong.
It is wrong.
So
I'm
wrong.
sorry. Milt, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? That stupid hat got to you.
Nice.
But they're playing like a solid team, and I find that when one gets a penalty, they bounce right back and will get like a huge tackle, a huge sack, something to make up, or even a fumble recovery or something. Like money always Hunter, not Sean. Let's
Yes. Yeah. Good clarification.
I always find that every time he gets a penalty, a couple plays like next, he'll get like a huge tackle or a recovery or something along those lines. And I'm just like, I was so mad at you like 5 minutes ago, but now it's gone. Like, I love when a player can make me do that, and I'm not like the whole game at them. So this defense is just like, I'm so proud of these coaches. I'm so proud of Maxie, and I'm so proud of Lolly. Like, defense of my dreams.
Well, they've got these guys playing aggressive again.
Yes.
And I think that's a huge thing for us as Eskimo fans is we love that aggressive defense.
Yeah.
And that's
no more
what
vanilla.
we're getting the pleasure to see right now. Yeah. Absolutely.
Hardcore championships.
I want to just check here. Now, for me, it was, so you had 2 Earthquake-Oos. Mm-hmm. Yay. It's exciting. 4 total sacks, 3 interceptions in total. So Money Hunter, Jordan Hoover, and Josh Johnson, all with interceptions. 2 absolutely incredible knockdowns by Johnson, and another nice one by Glass. So, I mean, so many and spread out. Like, there's not just kind of one guy.
Yep.
They're all doing it.
Yeah. That's what makes it special.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. There's not one guy that I'm like, oh, well, this is the best guy on the D.
Right.
It's like,
That's why it's a team.
they're all good.
They're all good.
Yeah.
By committee, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, Cam, you've watched a number of Eskimo defenses over the years.
Yeah.
What would your assessment of this year's version so far be?
They're having fun, and it shows, right? Like, and that's where the success has come from in my eyes. Like, it's when you watch them, it's exciting to watch because wherever the ball is going to be, wherever the play is going to go, something can happen big because they're that consistent.
Yes,
right,
that's
right,
very
right
true.
through every position, right? So it's, it's again not it's been a while that we can actually, I can actually watch and have fun watching a defense. I'm an offensive guy, right? I'm really enjoying it, right? Like and everyone knows me. I'm purely offense, but I'm having a good time watching these. Like they're having fun, and it's a big play can happen no matter where on the field, and it's exciting, right?
Yeah,
I agree. I agree. I'll for my good, I'm going to switch back to the offensive side, and I want to give a shout out to Tavon Smith, who made a catch in the third quarter that made me jump out of my seat, where he leapt up and basically at the peak of his jump, his arm stretches out and he catches that ball. And what a catch. And over 2 Toronto defenders, and he just went up and got it. And I love seeing that because we keep saying we want to get Tavon Smith going.
Yeah.
We want to see more of him, and he can be this amazing Canadian receiver. And you see moments like that, and I was just like, wow, that was unreal. Please, more of that.
Yeah.
Tavon, I'd be great with that. And we'd be remiss if we didn't shout out the other Money White.
Of course.
4 for 4. Once again, back to perfect. We love it. Keep going, Sean.
And top of the CFL, but no bigs.
No. Not a big deal. Now, there are still some points in here that I guess might be a little picky, but there are maybe some bad things that happen. Anything that on that side of things that you look at, Cam, and go, well, I'd like to see that a bit better?
Someone kind of touched on it already.
A little bit, yeah.
Elaborate.
But it's true. Like it's even looking back all season, it's a little bit frustrating, right? Like we have 40 minutes possession and we can only 24 points, right? Like it's, thank God we're 4 for 4 field goals and stuff like that. But like a little bit frustrating. Like we have so many opportunities to convert and it's just not happening. So frustrating, but at the end of the day, defense stuff, like, hey, it's good, but frustrating. I'm the offensive guy and it frustrates me sometimes.
Yeah.
Like
there's still a lot of dropped passes.
Yes.
I mean, there's
correct
a fair number of those.
Like, and I that's my pet peeve of all time, right? Like,
hit him in the worst spot, right in the hands.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right in the worst spot, and it's, oh my God.
I have my son trained so well now. When it happens, he's like just yells push-ups like every time.
Seriously though,
It's it just makes me laugh. But we did have that. We also had a little bit in this game of that bad penalty timing, where you take the penalty or the turnover right at the you march it all the way down and then turnover. Really, so, or the offensive pass interference that takes the touchdown off the board for Kenny Stafford for a second week in a row.
Yeah, geez.
Those are. I understand it's still real picky because you're still winning and you're winning by a large margin, but is that because we were playing Toronto?
Right. Is that because we're playing Toronto and is how long is that going to last? Right. Like what happens down the stretch here, and it's
clean up some of those things so you can make sure you're beating the good teams with your good defense.
I mean, hey, is it something easy to clean up? Who knows?
It's a tough one.
It's a tough one.
Yeah,
but.
Well, it's not like the schedule gets any easier, right?
Correct.
From here on out. So that's what's a little bit more terrifying.
We do have Ottawa in 2 weeks. They'll give us 2 points.
Yeah, but then we have Calgary back to back.
Maybe.
We have Calgary, 3 of those,
they're coming up.
So,
yeah,
right, 3 of those 5. So
they are coming up for sure. So, now any what the moments? I have one, and I specifically didn't write it down.
So clearly, my only. I don't really have a WTF, but I guess I can meld it in with what I didn't like.
Okay.
And with the WTF. It's just like you said, the offense, it just feels like it's like sputtering the whole game.
Mm.
Like those car engines, like... and then every once in a while it'll start, but if you turn it off...
Not a video podcast, exactly. You're getting the first-hand look here. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Shush, let me speak. Sorry. So I think that's more of my frustration, my WTF is like, why just catch a ball? get the first down, and repeat. Why is that so hard for professionals?
But the running game's going okay.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
but you have to also have a balance.
Absolutely. Well, and lots of guys, the running game should set up that pass game, and then we're having those little bit of stumble. Lots of good catching. I mean, Ricky Collins still had, 82 yards? Yeah. So another big game for him, but we're not getting that finish, though,
exactly,
either.
Exactly.
Harris hasn't thrown a touchdown in 2 games.
Yeah, okay, fine, you're getting to this point, and Sean White can kick a field goal. That's awesome, but it's not going to fly when you're playing, well, look what happened to us in Winnipeg. Right? You can't win a game against a good team if you can't actually get in the end zone.
Right. Yeah.
You just can't. Sean White is amazing, and he's money, but there's only so much that he can do.
Ding. Nice. Don't wreck Mike's mic.
Just punching us so angry. But that's what I think. So,
all right.
Well, it was.
That's fair. Here's my what the fire truck moment.
What?
Why, when we are up by 23 points with 6 minutes left in the game, is Trevor Harris still going on the field?
Oh, yes. Wow. Yeah.
Especially with the way quarterbacks are getting injured this year. It's the one thing. I mean, I said it before when it was Riley. If we have the giant lead,
and it's not just our team.
If we're way behind, I get it, right? But if we have a decent lead and we're running the ball well, why can't Logan Kilgore hand the ball off? And then no chance of getting T-Sniper hurt. Because, I mean, we're now 6 of 9 day one starting quarterbacks are injured. So I think that whole last 6 minutes, I was just on edge of don't let... we're playing a team that has Cleon Lang. What does he do to Eskimo quarterbacks? Hurts them. Not on purpose. I'm not saying...
No, but that's just...
It happened.
He's a beast.
But and I understand that the offensive line was not letting them get back at Harris, and that's all fine and good. Another game without any sacks.
Time.
Yeah. But one
mistake.
Mazzoli didn't even get hit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And... I mean, Trevor Harris rolls out one way, and next thing you know, he's out. We don't want that. So
even Toronto changed their quarterback.
Well, that's because they sucked. It's different.
I'm just saying. I mean, even they had the gumption to do it, but we didn't.
Yeah.
But I agree. It's not just the Eskimos either.
No.
Which I don't understand why.
That's why you have a backup quarterback.
Even again with Riley, why was he in there this weekend? To the last moments,
and
he looked like he was in a little bit of pain.
Absolutely,
right? Why?
45 to 18. You're not winning the game.
No.
Why do you still put him? I don't get that. I don't get why that's happening. And I understand you want to have faith in your quarterback. I understand that Jason Moss was a quarterback and he doesn't like to get pulled out of a game, so he doesn't like to do that to his players. I understand all that. On the other hand, we need to think about more than just. Yes, we want to just win this game, but that one was basically locked down.
Yeah,
it's okay to put Kilgore in and and see what he can do.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, no,
just my moment, but
it's hard, right? Like playing with your heart, so and coaching with your heart.
I think that's true.
Yeah,
yes, very much so. Now, this week's player of the game. Let's see. I had Kwaku because 2 Earthquakes. Yay! And he just seemed dominant all night. We gave a special mention to Jordan Hoover, who got his first interception and I thought he had a great game back at safety. Mike went with Josh Johnson, who had some great knockdowns, was really covering the corners quite well. And Kayla went with Shaq Cooper, who we've already talked about, had the monster game.
Yeah.
According to the fan vote, winning by about 9% was Shaq Cooper.
Oh, really?
Yes. Big game for him.
I find, though, it's offense usually takes the cake for some reason.
Can sometimes, yeah. We tried to load it up with 3 other D-line
and
guys. Defensive guys.
Johnson would have been my first choice, too, but, I mean, you have to give credit to Shaq and what he did with that game. I mean, he did fumble in the first quarter. He's a young player. But the fact that he didn't let that moment determine the rest of his game is absolutely such a mature and phenomenal response from him.
I agree.
And it just makes my heart aflutter. And I'm very, very proud of him. If you're listening, Shaq.
Of course he listens every week.
Proud of you, kid. But all these guys were definitely a great choice. Like I'd say Johnson too. Like wow, incredible game. Great games. Well, let's take a very quick break, and then we will come back with our CFPN game preview, and of course this week's PickEms and fantasy picks.
Hey there, this is your co-host, Kenny Stafford, with the Eskimo Empire Podcast. Hope you guys enjoy listening.
You can join the Empire online.
Find us at eskempire.ca.
Check out all the new blogs, and then follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
For more history, follow at Esks History on Twitter.
And even more of my picks on Esk Empire Photo.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to help the pod grow. Thanks again for listening. Let's get back to the show. Welcome back. Before we get to our preview, let's talk about another great show on the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. This week, we welcome a brand new show called This Is Adulting. I think you would like it, Kayla. It's a fun network family show. Oh, let me explain. So it's a really fun show. It's hosted by Jack and Danny, and they go out and experience adulting and different experiences in adulting, and then bring the stories back. So I listened to one back from February, and Jack actually went out and did speed dating.
Oh my God.
And then came back and reported about it, and they had some really good takes. It was funny. It was easy to listen to, and of course I've never experienced it, so it's kind of neat to see like, oh, well, that's what that was like. And it sounded like overall it was actually a pretty positive experience.
Really, I have to listen to it, because that is like one of my biggest nightmares, is being dragged to speed dating. Like I would just like, oh
no, from the way he described it, it was very interesting to hear how he was talking about, well, I met 12 different people, and then I selected, yes, I would talk again to this person or this person. And then the lady, I guess, who sets it up, then goes over the yeses from the women, and then they just match up the people who might want to go on a second date. And the other part is like, you have 6 minutes basically to figure out, would you go on a date with this person? But everyone's there for kind of the same reason. So it sounded like it was actually kind of a neat experience.
Don't make me nauseous.
From everything that they report, it's better than online dating. Anyway.
Anything is better than online dating. Let me just put that out there.
That could be the case. But I had some great laughs, and they've covered a whole bunch of things like pets and road trips, so much more. So find This Is Adulting, and of course check out all the other great shows at albertapodcastnetwork.com.
Neat.
I love saying that .com part.
.com.
That's right. Now let's go to our game preview. So the Esks are on the road for a earlier than usual season matchup against the Stamps at McMahon. 5:00 start this Saturday. Kayla, both you and I will be at the game. And I think this is one of the bigger challenges, of course, that this team has come up against, other than Winnipeg early in the season. So now this is going to be really funny for you, Cam. Here's the Uncle BD stats moment.
All right.
You ready?
Do it.
All right. Now Harris is ahead of the 2005 Ricky Ray team record for completions. Ray was at 158 after 6 games, and Harris right now is at 170. So, well, hopefully he can keep that pace up. Sean White needs 19 points to tie Jerry Corrick for 5th on the Esks all-time points list at 577, and he needs 39 points to move to 16th all-time in CFL scoring. So that's pretty wild. Yeah. Like, I mean, really, I know he's been around a while, but he seems like he's such a young dude, and he's like, okay, but he's just killing it out there. So keep going, Sean. And the last time now the Esks played the Stamps, it was the highest scoring game in series history, 90 points in that game. I don't think we are going to see the same in this one. I would expect this to be a little more of a defensive battle. But before we talk about the Esks, let's go to the Stamps side of the ball. And for that, we go to our CFPN game preview and welcome back our favorite podcast villain, the one and only BB Can Ryan from the Horsemen. How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. I do need to start off with an apology, and and don't want to break off the movie magic here about this, but I do have to apologize to Kayla. I've called her out repeatedly, and then when I was supposed to do this interview live when she was in the studio, I somehow forgot what day it was and just went to a movie. So the Ryan versus Kayla battle will have to wait at least 2 more weeks or 3 more weeks until we get into the Labor Day crunch, and hopefully we can get together in the same place at the same time and prove to doubters that we are both different people.
Yes, well, that could happen this Saturday, as we are both coming down for the game this Saturday.
Yes, I'm looking forward to the tailgate. It's the Eskimo Invasion coming down to the tailgate party this week. Empire listeners, of course, are welcome to join their favorite podcast hosts, as well as Andrew and Kayla coming down to the tailgate party this week with the CFL Horsemen. It's a Saturday game. It's a 5:00 game, which is nice. You're going to be able to come down from Edmonton, watch your team get their asses kicked, and then drive right back up the Highway of Tears all the way back home and still make it there before midnight. So it's going to be a nice evening on Saturday, for the Eskimo fans to make that 6-hour trip.
I was really wondering about my sanity talking to you after you watching a Tarantino movie, and now I'm questioning it more, but that's okay. Let's talk about said game, shall we? Now, this is the first time in a while that these teams meet actually before Labor Day. And of course, they're both sitting at 4-2. So I guess we'll start with the one that'll be the most fun for you to answer is what has been like the most pleasant surprise for you on the Stamps this year?
It's interesting. I know it's funny. You start to think that, oh, well, we've rebounded from all these injuries. And, now I think with Juwan Breskison going on today, that makes 15 guys, 10 starters on the 6-game list for the Stampeders right now. And yet we're 4-2. And so you'd like to say, oh, I'm surprised that we've been able to keep afloat and keep a good winning record at 4-2 here with all of these starters injured. But that would belie what's happened the last 10 years in this city, which is no matter how many injuries we have, we still keep chugging along and we keep piling up wins. They may not be pretty wins. They may be coach-assisted decision wins.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm actually going to write on that this week because I think Rick Campbell was definitely damned if he did, damned if he didn't. Because there's nothing saying if they punt out of the end zone that Calgary doesn't come down and score a touchdown. Towards the fourth quarter, based on the time of possession, that defense was being run off the field, and Calgary had just marched the ball down to the 1 before fumbling minutes earlier. So there's nothing saying that Calgary doesn't come down and score a touchdown, and then everyone's going, well, why didn't you take the safety and kick the ball off and drive them deeper? So I think Rick Campbell was really in a no-win situation there because Calgary was going to win that game. It was just whether or not they needed a field goal or a touchdown. Either way, I think they were going to find the points to win because, again, that's what Calgary does, and that's what Calgary has done this season. When they've needed points late in a game, with the exception of the game against Hamilton, they've gone down and got the points.
That's fair. Okay. Yeah, mostly. Yeah, but anyway.
I don't count week 1 losses. Week 1 losses happen around here all the time. And it's because typically the Stampeders are breaking in a team with 6 or 7 new guys in key positions, and it takes a minute for them to gel. That's what happened again here in week 1. You saw that Dominic Davis ripped up this secondary, and nobody has done so since. Right. So it just took a minute to get their sea legs under them. And ever since that game, they've been phenomenal on the pass defense. So, week 1 losses happen in Calgary. It's not terrible. The only terrible thing about it is everybody coming at me for my 18-0 predictions.
But that's every year. You're used to it by now.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Come at me, mother.
Nice. Oh my. Every time
there.
you're on the show. Yeah, it's perfect. Speaking of that defense, now they're starting to look a lot more like the Calgary Stampeders defense that we know of. Now, do you think that it was players adjusting to the system, or do you think the system was adjusting to the players that they now have as compared to what they had even last year?
Well, I think the system is very similar to what we saw under Devon Claybrooks, because Brent Monson has worked here for a decade. Brent Monson has been a defensive coach here in Calgary for 10 years. He's learned underneath Stubler and Campbell and Jones and Claybrooks and all of those guys. And Claybrooks learned under Stubler and Jones and Campbell, so he put his stamp on what those guys were doing and made it the Stampeders defense. Now Monson is putting his stamp on what Claybrooks did. So they're all very subtle variations on all four of those guys' systems put together. Now, I think what happened in Calgary is you saw the middle linebacker leave. You saw the will linebacker leave. You saw the defensive tackle, one defensive end leave. You also saw the safety go. The retired right before camp. You had a couple, you had Deontay Evans, who's one of the best cornerbacks in the league. He left. Yep. This Calgary defense had 7 new starters on it. That's not gonna gel together in week 1. That's not going to gel together in week 2. That's going to start to gel together as things go on. And now we're seeing that. And really we're seeing what Josh Bell told us on our podcast, which is we're going to force quarterbacks to throw to where they think we're weak, and then we're going to intercept the ball and take it back. And Calgary is leading the league by a wide margin in interceptions right now.
Yes.
I think Winnipeg has 8 and Calgary has 14. Trey Roberson's got 5. Robertson Daniel with the Joker makeup now has 3. So Calgary's doing exactly what they thought they would do, which is disguise the defense enough to fool a quarterback into throwing an interception. And that has really paid off here so far with the preparation from both Monson and Bell.
Awesome. Well, not awesome for me, but awesome.
I think I agree with you. It's awesome.
Yes. I knew you would. Now, we know, of course, some of the big names in CFL fantasy as far as the Stampeders are concerned, but is there a player that we should be watching closer that we kind of maybe don't know about?
Well, Juwan Breskison's going to be injured this week, which opens the door for a cheap Calgary receiver. And right now, Hergy Mayala is only $2,500, and I expect him to start in that Breskison spot. Breskison, when he was before that kind of spot in the Calgary offense, was the one that was occupied by Reggie Bagleton at times last year, by Kamar Jordan at times last year, and the one where Juwan Breskison has hit a couple home run throws and catches here so far in the early going this season. So I think Mayala can get you a really great return on the dollar when you're putting him into the lineup. However, I would look to Danny Austin's Twitter over the next couple days to see who's working where, because the stamps are very thin due to injury. And as a result, they may be juggling some guys around, but I think right now it's Mayala's spot to lose.
All right. And I mean, we get that too. We have 12 guys on the 6th game as well. So it's every time before the depth chart comes out, you're like, which guy is actually going to be where? Let's see.
Calgary hasn't had less than 4 guys change in the lineup spot every single week.
Yeah.
And at one point there were 7.
Wow. That's
Calgary had 7 guys in and out of the lineup the week after Bo got hurt. So there were 7 guys in and out of the lineup before the game against the Riders, and they came out and dominated them, treated them like the they are.
Nice.
I'm not sure if there's a curse word for that or a trigger or
it's all good. I'll find one. It's all good.
Yeah, like a double-decker bus or whatever.
Nice. Okay, so now I already know what you're going to answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What are the keys for the Stampeders to beat the Eskimos this weekend?
I think for the Stampeders this weekend, if you're looking to beat the Eskimos, you need to do a couple things. You need to be able to protect Nick Arbuckle. The offensive line is going to be the biggest key to success this week against the Eskimos. You guys have had a dominant performance from your front 7. They've done everything you've asked them to do and more. And now we need to find out whether or not that was because they're great or because they played BC so often early in the season. So we need to find out whether or not Nick Arbuckle is a little better protected than Mike Riley at this point. The Stampeders
I think
have given up.
Better protected than I'm better protected than Mike Riley.
I think he just got sacked again.
Probably, yeah. On a bye week, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He's just running around like he's sponsoring a potato sack race. But I think when you're talking about this game this week, Calgary has given up the second most amount of sacks this season. Some of that, I think, is because Nick Arbuckle has been holding on to the ball a little more. Other parts of that is because I think teams are trying to blitz him more often than they normally would. I think Saskatchewan tried to throw the kitchen sink at him to try and to make him flustered and force him to make mistakes. So I think teams are blitzing the Stampeders a little more right now than they have been otherwise. I know Edmonton likes to throw extra attackers at a quarterback, so it'll be really interesting to see what the game plan is from the Eskimos this weekend and how to deal with Nick Arbuckle. Interesting stat for me, when Arbuckle has gone over 300 yards, which he's done twice in 4 games, he has not thrown any touchdowns. When he has been held to under 300 yards, he's thrown 2 touchdowns in each of those 2 performances. So it's kind of an interesting stat there that kind of doesn't make much sense when you think about a quarterback who, Nick Arbuckle set a club record last week with 370 yards, 30 completions, and no touchdowns.
So basically what you're saying is we want to just let him throw like crazy. That's nice.
Well, I think you know what? Why not? Let's say that the Eskimos' best chance to win is to allow Nick Arbuckle to throw for 400 yards.
Perfect. So pick up Arbuckle in fantasy. That's the next.
Well,
no
again,
touchdowns, but
you might get any touchdowns. Yeah. So I think really when you look at the Stampeders this year, they are hanging on right now, and they're trying to wait out all of these injury issues. We may see Romar Morris back in the lineup this week. And they did trade Justin Renfro, which bodes well for some guys on the offensive line, perhaps Leon Johnson, who's a rookie that everybody's pretty high on for the tackle spot, which has been a problem so far this season. So it'll be really interesting to see what kind of pressure we get from the Edmonton Eskimos this week in front of Calgary, and whether or not they throw those extra attackers and just hope to swarm them to death like they did with Mike Riley.
Awesome. Well, it's always fun to have you on, dude. It's great to chat some football with you. And of course, I'm looking forward to seeing you this weekend. But before we let you go, tell everybody where they can find your show and where they can find you online.
Well, the first thing you need to do is subscribe to the Horsemen Radio podcast on anywhere you can get podcasts. Just search for Horsemen Radio, and we are available on almost every platform. And if you find one that I missed, let me know, and I will have it up there shortly. And for me, you want to find me at BB Can Ryan, where I will be going at the no good dastardly Joe Balanesky as hard as possible this week, because Joe, what you gonna do when my 280 characters run wild on you?
Wow. I don't know how to end that any better than that. Thanks, Ryan. We will see you on Saturday.
Can't wait, buddy. See you soon.
Oh, that was awesome as always. Ryan's always an interesting character to have on the show.
To say the least.
And we always have fun with him. Thanks for coming on, man. Let's talk about the Eskimo side. Keys to victory over the Stampeders this weekend. Cam, we'll start with you. What do you think the Esks got to do?
More of last week?
More of last week?
Yeah. Possession. It's all possession.
Yeah.
It's all possession.
Yeah.
Run the ball and possession.
Yeah.
And run more and possession. And maybe catch the odd one in the end zone. In the end zone.
I was going to say, not that you were like subliminal, man, there. It's all, about possession, like running the ball, possession. And then if you get another possession, they could just hang on possession.
So take it. I almost sound like my brother for a second there. I'm flashbacks here. Possession, but it's true, right?
Are you okay?
Yeah, a little bit okay. I'm
okay, good. Just making sure. Okay.
I'm
Just checking out. All right, good.
Okay,
that's excellent point. Excellent point. Yeah, and it's going to be huge in this game.
Yeah.
Keeping the ball away from their offense and keeping their defense on the field is going to be big. Not an easy task. The Calgary defense is ramping up over the last few games. Do not throw it towards Trey Roberson. So unfortunately that means Devon Smith and Kenny Stafford is not having a big game, but
they can take one for the team.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
Right up the middle to Ellingson. That's just fine.
It's okay.
Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah, I'd be excited about this.
Yeah.
Keys to the game, Kayla?
Well, to go off Cam on the time of possession, actually scoring on those times of possession would be awesome. And by scoring, I mean into the end zone. Great. Thank you.
Field goals go into the end zone, though, too.
Okay. Person and ball.
Person and ball.
Yes, together in one harmony.
I see.
Together.
So Sean should kick Kilgore through the field goal?
That would be entertaining.
That would be. Yeah. Be lovely. No, touchdowns.
Touchdowns.
Oh, I like those.
Get into the end zone. And, Sean, for sure, let's get several field goals too. But on top of that, get into the end zone with a touchdown.
All right. Perfect. Yeah. Well done. Excellent. I think this key, to me, there's going to be a lot of field position battle in this game. I think special teams are going to play an enormous role in this game. I think that Calgary's been getting some great returns as of late. Mm-hmm. Martise is getting closer. Yep. He had a couple where he's broken out, gotten those 30-40 yard returns. I think that whole battle of field position, you're talking about time of possession, even if we're moving the ball and punting, but then our defense is stopping them. Correct. And we're getting the ball back, so we're starting closer to their end zone all the way. I think that's just going to be massive in this game. So special teams is going to be really big, and our defense, they need to get after Arbuckle.
Yes.
If they can do what they have done to a number of other teams and put that pressure on, I think we might have a little more success for sure.
Pin your ears back a little bit more.
To some degree. I mean, you don't want to give it away because Terry Williams is going to be back there running, which I mean, it doesn't take him much to take one move and go, out to the right, and we're chasing. But to some degree, get in Arbuckle's kitchen because he's had a couple of tests, but he hasn't had that kind of pressure yet. Right. So,
and be strategic. Treat this as a game of chess. This particular game, you want possession, scoring, but you also said field position. You got to think a few steps ahead when it comes to Calgary. Yes, unfortunately.
Yes, it's very important, especially playing there, which Moss has not had a lot of luck down there.
Well, the Eskimos as a whole haven't had a whole lot of luck at McMahon. Right. I would know. I've been to several.
not in the past few years. In the 90s, we won all of them.
No, that was so okay. Sorry, my time in football has not been so good.
Okay, fair enough. So you're the problem. Wait.
How dare you?
I'm kidding.
Are you?
Yes, I am. You're bringing Mama Jedi. All will be better.
Yes.
It'll be wonderful. Any players in particular that you'd keep your eye on this week, Cam?
I don't know. It'd be nice seeing the Harris come out and throw 4 touchdowns.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
That'd be my hope for this weekend, right? To see that finally come out and just have a good time with that.
Excellent. Harris is a great choice. Yeah. And I agree. Yeah. We need to see. We want to see the Harris that we saw the first couple of games, right?
Yeah. And if there's a time for it to show now.
Yeah. Now's the time.
Now's the time. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Kayla?
I'm going to be watching, since he's right in front of my visuals, I'm going to be watching Mondo.
Ooh, well.
The sign, kids, not the actual.
That one. Got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's just rip-roaring this season. He's Mondo. He's always bringing his A game. I think he understands the Battle of Alberta and what it means to this team. So I think he's probably going to bring it a little bit harder, a little bit juicier, and I'm okay with that. And I'm going to be watching for a few, maybe 2 sacks, actually.
Ooh,
I'm feeling 2 sacks from Mondo.
Are you calling 2 sacks from Mondo?
2 sacks.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
That's really good.
I don't know if it's going to happen, but that's what I'm jiving with. So
all right.
I don't know what this is. But
I don't know either. Looks like money, but sure.
It's like fairy dust.
Oh, fairy dust. Yeah, okay. You're giving fairy dust to Mondo. I'll be interested to see if he responds to that, because he listens every week too. Oh. Okay. I have no idea.
Feel it, Mondo.
That's very nice. I have a couple players that I want to keep my eye on this week. One is Vontae Diggs, who is really come into his own, playing in that linebacker position. But one of the things that he tweeted out on Monday was Battle of Alberta.
He gets it.
He's being coached up the right way. That's what Morley had said. Yeah. And I'm excited to see this guy play in a game with some intensity. Not that we haven't had some intensity games, but
It's different.
Where you're going up against a little better team, I'm excited to see what he can do. And again, just getting back into that kitchen, right? So Vontae Diggs, I'm excited to see him. And then on the offensive side of the ball, I'm going to switch it around to Greg Ellingson. And much like what you said, you want to see Trevor Harris come out and have that big game. I want to see Ellingson come out and get a little more involved as well. He didn't have as many targets in the last couple of games, so is now the time to maybe feed that, like I said, more up the middle and stay away from those corners that are having great seasons and maybe feed Ellingson a bit more. I'd be excited to see that happen. So, Greg's due for one of those monster games.
Yeah.
So, look at that. It's like we do this every week. Yeah, it's crazy. So, yeah, those are where I'm going. Now, we always pick the Eskimos to win. So, but what we have been doing this year is doing a prop bet for any type of stat that the whatever stat we think we want to pick. Now, you're the guest and you're the stats guy.
Yeah,
so
special treat.
I'll let you pick the stat. I'll set the line, and then we will go over under on it. Now, do you want? If you need some time to think, we can do the other games first, and then come back to it.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, I'll give you some time.
Probably not. It's probably still got the same one in my head, but yeah, let's do that anyway.
Okay, we'll do the other games, then we'll come back to it. Yeah. Okay, so now we've got a couple of different games here to talk about. Now, I got to mention, I know he's not here, but Mike went 4 for 4 last week. So get off my mountain, right? That's right.
Yeah.
4 for 4, whatever. He's up to 12th in our league. Good for you, superfan.
Andrew's not bitter at all.
No, not at all.
He's not fuming.
Because I'm 45th. I'm right on his tail. It's perfect. Tina Banshee is still sitting first. She also went 4 for 4 this week, has quite a sizable lead, so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out over the next few weeks. Our first game to pick, other than our own, is Winnipeg versus Toronto. This is in Toronto, and this is the first, I believe, of a doubleheader on Thursday night again. Which I'm like, I don't know. I don't get. Like, one game on Thursday night, I'm okay. Doubleheader? Like,
no.
That's late, and then you've got work the next. Anyway, whatever.
I agree.
Can't control it this week. So Winnipeg versus Toronto in Toronto. Do the Boatmen finally pull off the upset against one of the best teams in the league, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers? Cam?
No.
That was an easy answer.
Call me Captain Obvious,
No.
maybe, but like I don't believe it.
No. Yeah.
I know there's different thoughts. But.
I don't believe it either, but I'm still going to go way left field off the turf out of the stadium and say Toronto.
You're actually picking Toronto?
Oh, why not? I won 4-0 once this year. I can lose everything else. It's all good. I'm not competing against anyone except myself.
Okay, perfect. All right.
So I'm just going to take a wild, crazy, lunacy guess because...
Winnipeg reeling from their loss last week?
Well, they didn't look really great. And that makes me very happy. But I doubt Toronto's going to win. But someone has to cheer for them. And I will do it. And I will pick Toronto.
I appreciate you taking one for the team. I'm picking the Bombers.
Yeah.
Boo hiss. Okay.
Boo.
Next game is Hamilton versus Saskatchewan in Saskatchewan. This is the second half of our doubleheader. What you got in that one, Kayla?
Oh, my God. I don't know.
It's hard, right? No more Holy Mazzoli.
Oh, that is...
Which is very upsetting.
Very upsetting.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. That just breaks my heart.
I know.
I don't... You know what? It's still, like... It's still going to come up. So I might as well go 0-3 and say the Ticats.
You're going Ticats?
Yeah, I can't pick the other green.
That's fair.
I can't. I don't pick with my brain.
No, I get that.
And you never know with Dane.
Yeah, you know what? I'm jumping on the bandwagon with you. I'm picking the Ticats.
Yeah!
That's right. Can I go on your mountain?
No, but you can enter the door.
Oh, I'm so close. The horrible innuendo and everything we just said is just very wrong. Yes, I'm picking the Ticats because I really do think that Saskatchewan is beat up on BC 2 weeks in a row.
they're due.
Which is fine, right? But it's BC. I really do think that Hamilton defense is playing lights out right now. And if they can slow down the Fajardo train, I think the door is open for Hamilton to be able to pull off a win there.
Is Lawrence out for one more game?
Yeah, he's out for this last game. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. So, Cam, who do you got in this one?
Riders.
Yeah. Well,
it's just
okay. I'll let you stay in the room for now.
Yeah, I know.
It's hard when it's in Saskatchewan, right? Because that atmosphere really does play a part. But
absolutely,
it's
it does.
huge, right?
Yeah.
Like
I just can't.
I know.
What am I going to say? I'm 45th.
Yeah.
Who cares? Go Hamilton.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can come on my losing train. We'll almost make it up the mountain, but fall back down because we suck so bad.
Okay. Well, that's close. Yeah.
I'll have to get Mondo to tow us back up.
That's right. Yeah. He's very helpful.
Yeah.
Next game is the Friday night football game, Ottawa versus Montreal in Montreal. I am picking the Alouettes to pull that one out again. I think Ottawa played a much better game against Calgary, but Montreal is just playing on a different level right now, and I love seeing what Vernon Adams Jr. is doing in this offense. So I do not say that.
I didn't. I mouthed it.
I heard it. Yeah, I can hear it in my earphones. Anyway, Montreal, I think, pulls this one out. Cam.
Yeah, they found it. They found it. So yeah, Montreal, they're riding the train.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm very curious with this one because they are coming off a bye week, and sometimes that can really either help or hurt a team. And
who wouldn't want a bye week in Montreal? Come on. Anyway, carry on.
What?
Montreal's so fun.
Yeah. Oh, I see. The actual
in the
city.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never been yet.
Yeah. Wow.
It's on the list.
Yes.
So it's really hard to tell if they're going to keep their motivation, but I'm going to say they do, and I'm going to pick the Owls.
All right. Perfect. Does it feel nice to pick the Alouettes and actually know you have a chance of winning now?
I know. It's great. I thought like last year, so I'm like, the Alouettes. It's like me in Toronto this year. It's like, I just want you to be at least decent.
Kayla's pity pick.
Oh, yeah.
Last year, it was the Alouettes.
Pig.
This year, it's the Argos.
Well, did you see that tweet that I said about that Argos fan who was like, hey, we won something. We won the coin toss.
That's right.
Oh, my gosh,
Good
I died.
for you.
I died.
That's outstanding.
Well, at least some people still have their
small
chins
victories.
up. Yeah.
Small victories.
What counts.
All right, really. Cam, you got a stat for us that you want us to have a prop bet on.
Stat for the prop bet. You know, like it's a... Is it going to be the weekend, right? Like that's what I mentioned before. Like Harrison touchdowns, right? Like
okay,
what is that like?
Okay, so you're going to say Harris touchdowns?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
I will put. Okay, so just based on what's been going on,
right,
and the Calgary defense the way they are, I'll put the line at 1.5. So does Harris throw for 2 touchdowns or less, basically? So that's your over-under.
2 touchdowns or less.
So is he getting 2 touchdowns, which would be over?
Yeah.
Or 2 touchdowns or more, then it's over? Or does he do
I see what you're saying. I was like,
or
how do you
0?
get a 0.5?
Yes. That's because you can't have...
I
just
know,
say 1, then you'd
2
have a
or
lot of
more.
ties.
Yeah.
So 1.5. So where are you going to go?
I'm going to be optimistic and go over.
All right, then.
Yeah, he's going over. He's going to be jacked
I
for
like
this.
the confidence.
All right.
He's going to be jacked.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel it.
I'm going under. I think he gets one throwing, and we have some more running.
Yeah.
That's what I think it's going to be.
Off the train.
That's why I said 1.5. It's close. I'm off the train. I get off the mountain all of a sudden? Jeez.
Can we also do a fun one for us?
Yes.
How many Eskimo fans are going to be at McMahon? Over or under 100?
Over.
Oh, over for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Usually there's like Labor Day in our section, there's usually like 300.
Yeah.
There's maybe like 20 this time.
Really?
Yeah.
Gotta remember, like, a lot of little season ticket holders down there. They're
That's
Eskimo
true.
fans.
That's true.
I think they'll be...
I was down there for 2 years, and I shared with my other brother that lived down there. And
okay.
There's quite a few. Well,
Hey,
there's at least 2.
There's like
at the time.
There's at least 2.
Right?
Yeah.
There's quite a few.
I don't know. I think we'll pull a fair... There'll be a fair amount of green.
Especially since it's going to be hot out. I feel like people will try to migrate.
I think a lot of people are going to do what I'm doing, which is going down for the game and then spending the rest of the long weekend
Right.
and having some fun in Calgary, right?
We're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's we're gonna do the zoo and do Callaway and see kids' birth families and all those types of things. So it's like this is that you just turn it into a mini vacation, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
There's lots to do in
That'll be
Calgary.
lots.
So,
yeah. Plus, we're staying at the hotel like right across the street from
Such
McMahon.
a nice
so it's
hotel.
so nice.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, just stroll over and have some tailgate and go to a game.
Boop, boop.
I like this. It's great. Yeah. No coats required. Yay. All right. Now, don't forget as well, we are taking a bye week next week. So I want to talk about this right now. Next week's home game on August 9th against Ottawa is the Purelator Tackle Hunger Game. So make sure you bring food donations or cash to help support the Edmonton Food Bank. Of course, if you do that, you get your picture with the Grey Cup, which is outstanding. Last year, Edmonton did 108,000 pounds of food, and I know we can do better than that. I actually kind of looked back over the stats, and this is the 17th year they've done Purelator Tackle Hunger, and they've raised somewhere over 12 million pounds of food for food banks across Canada. So
Marvelous.
an amazing initiative. We know we want to go and be part of that. One thing that we're going to do this year, it's a little different. Bring your either food item or cash donation. Show us at the tailgate. The first 5 people that come do that, we're going to give them a Quaker shirt.
Nice.
So you get a little extra if you get there early and you come over to the tailgate, hang out with us. We'll give you a Quaker shirt that you can wear into the game, and you can donate your goods and things to the Edmonton Food Bank. So make sure that you are coming in and bringing your stuff for that, because we won't be recording next week, but we will be promoting that on our Twitter. So
yeah. Oh, you know what we should do?
What's that?
A little Periscope.
A little Periscope for the people who come get it. I think we could do that.
Yeah. The game.
I like
Check
this.
in. Make sure we're still alive.
Yeah. We could do that.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. Perfect. We're down.
All right.
Okay. Let's talk about a little bit of CFPN Fantasy League. Now, I moved to 7-0 this season after a win over said BB Can. Ryan?
Ooh, mopping the floor with that red beard.
Oh, it was lovely. Mike also picks up a win over Ryan Coop. So, the Empire strikes back against the Ryans. Beautiful.
Thank you.
That's starting the show. I hope you know that. Next up for me is the Podfather, Brian from BC Lions Den. He's had an amazing last couple of weeks. And Mike gets Sheldon from the Horsemen, so we're just trading off Horsemen guys to beat up on. Make sure, of course, you follow all of the great shows at cfpodnetwork.ca and, of course, at cfpodnetwork on Twitter for all of the show updates. Now, in our pod league, I've actually taken the lead this week, and Mike is up to 45th after having a very good week. Are you playing the fantasy at all, Cam?
No, I'm not. No.
All right.
Yeah,
Is there? Because I know we already talked about our Esks guys, but I always try to look and see. Okay, so where are those guys that you're thinking? Oh, well, there's your value pick or something along those lines. I think there might be some value picks out of Montreal.
I was just gonna say
this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of people have been picking up Quan Bray, and he might be that guy to pick up this week. So something just to keep an eye on. Possibly a whole bunch of stand back if he's in there. On the Eskimo side, you may want to look into whichever running back we have. Mm-hmm. See how that goes. But if you follow on Cam's prop bet, maybe you want to pick up Trevor Harris.
Yeah.
There you go. It's only $11,000.
Who is the most expensive? Oh,
that'd be Brandon Banks is actually the most expensive player. The most expensive quarterback last week was Trevor Harris. Of course. Okay. So we'll see what happens this week.
Remember when it was Mike? Poor guy.
Yeah, you can't be the highest one when you spend the whole game on your back.
I know.
That's the problem.
That's why it's poor Mike.
Yeah, poor Mike. Oh, I feel sorry for him. It was cute when he ran in with his girls, though, for Family Day. That was kind of neat. I kind of thought that was a neat thing with all the guys coming out with their kids.
That is nice.
Thought that was, Eskimos could do that here. I'd be okay with that. That'd be kind of neat. Watch, Nate run out with the girl. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Poor Melody's like, wait.
Yeah, wait. Yeah, exactly.
She's due in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's coming up. Well, thank guys for coming down and doing this awesome show. And Cam, thanks for coming down. This
Thanks
was
for having me. Thanks for having
fun. Tell everybody again, where do they find you on Twitters and things if they want to follow you?
Yeah, just on Twitter, Brick Cam. That's
Beautiful.
me.
Awesome.
Just want to sing like the brick house. She's a brick house. Every time you say brick cam, it just like in my head starts singing.
So is it he's a brick cam?
Yeah.
I like snapping. It's very helpful. Kayla, where does everybody find you?
At Duchess Lombardi.
Lovely, because your last name's Lombardi.
Apparently.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm good with that.
You can find me at Freepalicious and, of course, the show at Esk Empire Pod. Make sure you're following Pay It Forward with Football on Facebook. Get those nominations into Quentin and Samantha. And make sure, of course, you check out all of the great shows on the Alberta Podcast Network at albertapodcastnetwork.com. And you can find all of our links and shows at eskempire.ca. Now, like I said, we'll be taking a bye week next week as we need a little vacation time. But we will be returned on August the 12th with more stories from the one and only JMO as he comes back into the Turf District. So, is it time for less push-ups and a big win in Calgary?
Absolutely.
For Cam, Commissioner Kayla, and Superfan Mike, I'm Andrew. Remember, you can't catch footballs with your face, and we will absolutely talk to you next week. 2 weeks.
Yeah, says you.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Find more great shows like this at CF Pod Network on Twitter.